Well,
Hmm.
hello, everyone. Today's guest is John Lavack. He's a very gifted energy healer and facilitator of transformation. He is originally from Canada and he now currently resides in California. John didn't realize that he had psychic abilities until he was around 7 or 8 years old. As a child, he felt uncomfortable with these abilities, even trying to hide them in his teenage years. His mother, worried that others might think he's weird, discouraged him from showing his abilities. But life had other plans. John studied business at university before and while flying helicopters across Canada and the US for exploration, firefighting, and heavy lift operations for over 35 years. After graduating from university, John experienced a life-altering helicopter crash. This caused a course correction that ultimately pushed him fully onto his true path of healing work as he learned to heal himself with the energy tools he learned and developed. John dove into psychosomatics, neuro-linguistic programming, and eventually training with the late Dr. William Bengston, the pioneer of rapid image cycling, which is a powerful healing modality that John now co-teaches. For over 20 years, he has been practicing as a full-time energy healer and has worked with clients in 46 countries. He works with his clients remotely. John's work has also been the subject of groundbreaking research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, Beech Tree Labs, and MD Anderson Cancer Center, studying the effects of rapid image cycling on conditions like carpal tunnel, injuries, and genomic changes in different types of cancer cells. With over 30 years of being out of the energy closet, John blends multiple healing modalities with a focus on transforming his clients' belief structures and frameworks, helping them to shift their energy and ultimately their health outcomes. John is someone that I met at the Dr. William Bengston rapid image cycling class. And he's someone that I send some of my clients to when they're looking for something, when they're looking for healing that is going to be outside of my scope. So please welcome to the show, John Lavack. Hello, dear.
After that, I'm like, I won't be able to live up to that introduction. Yeah.
Well, but it's the truth. The truth.
Okay.
It is who you are. So I wanted to first ask you to explain what you experienced in your childhood that made you recognize your psychic abilities.
Um, it was more finding out that other people didn't understand it,
Uh-huh.
or didn't I wouldn't say didn't have it, but sort of more awareness of, well, I'm aware of things and things that other people weren't, and being aware of things before they happened, some of the precognition that I had, and getting me in trouble. And so I learned to make it under the how do you put it, below the horizon, under the rug, if you want to call it, to hide
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought I was doing a pretty good job until I was in my 20s and was at a um, visiting back at the town that I grew up in until I was in my teens, and a lot of the folks that I knew there said, "Yeah, we always knew you were weird. We always knew you were different." And I thought, okay, they didn't hide it very well at all. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You've got the unique energy about you. You really do. Now, do you have any, can you share any stories of like your precognition or anything else that you experienced?
Oh boy, vivid one. So let me see here. Trying to remember how old I was. I was probably 10 years old at that point, and I dragged my sister down to the corner to watch the car accident that hadn't happened. Our town didn't have any traffic lights. It had just had four-way stop signs, and somebody drove right through a four-way stop sign and hit another car and um, went sort of up the steps to the bank that was on the corner. And
Oh,
so um, my sister ran home because we were just living very close by and told my mom. And of course, I got in trouble for, you can't do that. You're going to get in trouble for that. So things like that, hiding it. Um, with the doing the as far as the energy healing, first time that I didn't think it was odd or anything else like that, but I got the urge when my grandfather was visiting us and he'd come into a town to have um, what do you call it?
cataract surgery.
Thank you. There, that's a symbol for cataract surgery. Yeah, cataract surgery.
Uh,
And they at that time they just did one eye, and when I recovered, they do the other eye. And so he was in a lot of pain and go lie down. So I went, and I was probably 4 or 5 years old at that point, putting my hands over his eyes, and he got a lot of relief and wanted me to do it a fair bit. Problem was then when his eyes were better, he went home, he left, and so I got to do it a second time with his other eye. And so I just thought that was normal. I didn't know there was any difference. And then our dog got hit by a car and its leg was broken and they got a cast and
yeah.
it would come and lie down in front of me and sort of so I put my hands on its leg and it healed very rapidly, faster than expected. I guess that was, but what happened is that news got out to sort of the dogs in the area, and so if a dog was injured, it would start showing up around me, and um, so my mother got very worried because everywhere I went, there were lots of dogs following me. So it was just that was in the era. Yeah, they were dog catchers, but in the era, but everybody let their dogs run free. Not very different than it is now, where dog spends most of the time on a leash or in confinement. But yeah,
Yeah.
so little
Yeah.
things like that happened, and um, yeah. So I'll
Those
let
are
you ask your next question because I sort of zoom off on tangents. Yeah,
well, those are really good examples. So I know that you flew helicopters across Canada
yeah.
and the US for a really long time. What drew you to that line of work?
Um, family. My father was a pilot, and then he owned part of a helicopter company, and at one point, and then got he worked for the government of Ontario, and then he also started the helicopter training program in North Bay, Ontario, and he couldn't get paid from two divisions, so I was still in high school and got to get my helicopter training at college while I was still in high school, because he couldn't get paid at that point, and
Mhm.
so until he switched divisions, and so I grew up in aviation, and then it was just natural that I would start flying. Yeah, and
Wow, you were really young.
yeah, Canada, 18 years old is the minimum age to get a commercial pilot's license, and so I was 18 when I got my license. Yeah, so
Is that different here in the US? I would imagine someone would need to be older here.
no, no, I believe it's. I don't know the exact age in the United States. I believe it's 18. You can get a private license, I think, with 16 is the same as in Canada. But
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. So I had mentioned in the introduction that you had that helicopter crash,
yeah.
and you had that life course correction. So explain what happened, share that story, and then what changed for you afterward.
Okay. Well, I just graduated from university with my degree in business economics, and I was back flying. I was going to fly for the summer, and I it had some investments in real estate that were looking like they were going really, really well, and um, so I was going to stop flying, but was just going flying for one more summer, and I was flying dynamite on the end of a long line, um, and doing portable seismic remote oil exploration work. And I had the sliding door wide open, and it was just a spectacular, beautiful day in the Canadian Rockies. And I went, I can't give this up. It's just too delightful. And a few minutes later, I just was setting, you'd lower the line with the dynamite on down through the trees, and you had this little device that would release a certain amount of dynamite to each spot that you were placing it on. And um, about the second or third drop, I had about 800 pounds of dynamite left under the helicopter, and the engine decided to go on vacation. So,
Oh my goodness.
so I went down through about 90 feet of trees, but I tried to make sure I didn't land on the dynamite. In that process, it started having the helicopter going down nose first.
Yeah.
And so I went through a seat and went from 6'3" to 6 foot and just a touch. I
Wow.
went through a metal seat and I got a scar here. You probably don't see too much. That was from my helmet when I hit the dash and bounced around. Um, and so I got out of the helicopter very quickly because I wasn't sure whether it was going to catch fire or whether
Yeah.
what would happen. I mean, the dynamite was very stable. It's called geogel, so it was really unlikely that it would go off unless I'd really landed on it,
Uh-huh.
which I didn't. So, and then um, basically because of my back, because I did compression fractures in two vertebrae in my back and pretty much couldn't walk, they had to carry me out, and off I went to hospital for that. So,
Yeah.
and in that there was awareness of I made that decision, no, I can't give it up, and then had that experience. It was like such a clear knowing that no, I'm not supposed to do this for the rest of my life. I
Mm.
ended up doing it for another 20 some years, but in that meantime, I was doing all kinds of trainings and figuring out, learning how to do energy healing. And so
Yeah.
that's
But
where
you were able to impact your own health, right?
very much, yeah,
Yeah.
because I had to fix myself up quite a bit, yeah. So when for a while I was walking around with two canes and doing they actually sent us, when I went back to work, they sent a second person. Instead of usually have one mechanic with the helicopter, they sent two so that they could help lift me into the helicopter and lift me out at the end of the day. So that was, yeah.
Wow.
No,
Were you awake during all of that, or had you been completely knocked out, or
no, I wasn't knocked out. I was conscious the whole time. Yeah.
okay.
So,
Okay. Um s- so in order to heal yourself though, John, what did you read books? Did you just naturally know? Help me understand.
well, I was in search of information. There's Dr. Albright who taught unicotometrics and psychosomatics. Helped me. He was very good at energy work, showing me stuff, and I was learning stuff from him. And um, I did all kinds of courses over the years, and that's how I ended up. I did NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and trying to. That was as far as not really energy work, but different way of functioning. All kinds. I'm just trying to remember all the different things that I did.
Was it hands-on? Was it
Hands-on. There was hands-on training. There was um, I did 2 years of training at the Palo Alto Bioenergy Balancing Center in the early 90s with Priscilla Capel, who was amazing. And then I was at the Academy of Intuition Medicine, and I was involved with that for 8 years. I did the training there, which is about 2 year training, and then I became a teaching assistant there. And then I started working on a PhD, and that's where I met Dr. Bengston, Bill, because he was a statistics and research methods professor. And in about 1992, 93, something, I started working on people um, explicitly. So I was and started to charge money as I was doing it as an avocation, and I kept
mm,
that very hidden from my aviation career because it was
yeah,
like, okay, um, who wants to know that their pilot's doing weird stuff? So,
right. I
so,
understand that. If
and
you don't
then go ahead.
go ahead, dear. Sorry.
No, 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 you go ahead there.
Well, when you were doing this self-healing,
Hmm.
uh, actually, no, I want to go back a little further. You said a couple of vertebrae, or where was this in your body? Neck?
No, I had um, the T7 or T8 and L4,
Oh, I
both
see.
compression fractures. Yeah, so
I see.
and so.
Mhm.
I could say I lost a little over 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and then with a lot of body work and rolfing and uh, neuromuscular reprogramming and boy, all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
Um, I got back about an inch and a half of it. I'm not as tall as I was, but
Yeah.
um, and that was also learning how to part of the healing process and finding out, okay, which way do I go? And I done worked with Lazarus material for all the way through it, so I learned an awful lot that way as well. So
Mhm.
yeah.
How long did this take you for you to, because how long were you laid up? That's really, I'm,
Oh boy, I went back to work a week later wearing a back brace, and
oh,
because I'd lost everything, and it was just like I need to put food on the table, so that's why
yeah.
they had set the two mechanics, and I should have been not doing anything, but it was like okay, the idea that you have to survive and make money at that
Yeah.
time, yeah,
You pushed through and you were in a lot of pain still or
yeah,
discomfort. Yeah.
yeah, and
Then how long did it take for you to finally feel this relief after all of that?
oh boy, it's been an ongoing process for a while. It was just like okay, I just have to live with this, and but then with different methods, healing a little bit more, having a bit more movement. Um, Even now, if I sort of stray outside of well, a certain weight range or um, do things without paying attention, my back will spasm and stuff. So it's I've healed a lot and I'm able to function, but and function really well. Just have to be a little bit cautious. So,
Because there's a ton of people with spine issues. So many.
mhm.
It's really good
Yeah,
to know you were able to have a really big impact on your spine.
yeah.
Um, I know you mentioned about meeting Dr. Bengston at the Academy of Intuition Medicine. Uh,
Well, I met him at the through the University of Energy Medicine University. Yeah,
oh,
and he
sorry,
was
Dan.
no,
Okay.
no worries.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a professor at university on Long Island.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He got coerced into being a how do you put filling that function for Energy Medicine University as because it was online university pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Um, so you were in class with him, he was your professor, and he discovers you have this really strong ability to heal.
Mentioned that he did the Bengston train cycling and
Yeah.
talked a little bit about that while we're learning statistics. There's just myself and another person who were the students in the class. It was over the phone and computer, and he'd give us assignments to do. And he mentioned what he was doing. I said, well, here's what I do for a living. And so he said, well, if you want to do my course, you can come and do it. If you, because I was in the Bay Area and he was going to be teaching in Florida. He said, if you fly down to Florida, I'll let you in for free. So I flew down to Florida and took the
Nice.
class, and that changed pretty much everything because I had a completely different direction to work on for my PhD, and all of a sudden it was just like that wasn't interesting, and this um, healing methodology that was so different. It was complementary to what I was doing and sort of supercharged it. So I got really interested and curious about charged cotton. I went, well, that'd be a great thing to do a dissertation proposal on, research proposal on.
Mhm.
So I did a quick right turn or left turn, whichever you want to say, and switched. And then as I was finishing off my courses and um, life changed and wasn't able, the university lost its degree granting privileges as a result of political changes in California. And so that sort of put everything on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know you mentioned charged cotton, just for the listeners who probably have no idea what you're talking about. Do you mind elaborating?
Okay. Um, well, Bill, Dr. Bengston, was always looking for a way to make healing more effective. And so to be able to, yes, I was working remotely with people all over the place, just didn't even really need a phone, but a phone so much better. He discovered, um, actually from research that Dr. Bernard Grad did at Montreal and McGill, who was a mentor of Bill's, that you could store healing energy in cotton, or it appeared that you could. So he did experiments with charging cotton, and so somehow or other, cotton, and it's not the only material, but it's an inexpensive material, um, can take on a healing charge and store it. So it's storable and transportable. So you can send it, and people can use it to heal as if they've got a healer with the charged cotton. So
Hmm.
it's haven't been able to find out how. Can't tell if there's any change, any measurable change in the cotton. Like charged water, um, there's a change in the bond angles of the water molecules. I'm not a scientist, sorry, so I don't know how to describe it well, but so there's a difference in how the structure of the water that's measurable. I guess that's the right word. That's noted when so there's a difference. With a cotton, can't tell any difference, and
Right.
so I was joking of needing a chargometer, and so um, I could sense quite a difference in the cotton. Now, am I 100% accurate? I don't think so, but
Hmm.
within a range, like okay, if in percentages, and then when it's fully charged, it feels boring, and then people can use that cotton and put it where they've got an injury or disease of different kinds and get healing. And it's like after a few days, that cotton is needs to be thrown away. It seems to absorb the negative um, vibration of whatever it was, say the disease or the cancer, and so you want to throw it away. It's and it's inexpensive, so um,
Yeah.
that's evolved in finding out that you can do the same with water, um, charging water, and I don't think it's lasts as long because water's such a dynamic essay. What do you
Mm.
call it? Structure. So,
Hmm.
but it can be charged, and people been charging water and having others drink it and getting results. So,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah. So
yeah,
in the rapid image cycling class that you co-teach, so of course you teach people how to do the cycling, but then they can also charge their own cotton
and
and
water, yeah.
water, and so they can use it on themselves.
Hmm.
Also use it along with the cycling actively to help others to
Yes.
facilitate healing. And you had mentioned cancer. So,
Hmm.
if you don't mind just kind of briefly touching on the main research that Bill
Oh
did.
boy. Bill did a lot of research on cancers, mainly breast cancer, because that was what was available, and so they were injecting mice with breast cancer that had never had it, nothing had ever worked in thousands of experiments. And since all the mice are theoretically identical, um, genetically the same, there'd be a range of time for how long it would take them to die. And with Bill cycling on them, virtually all of them survived. It was the first time mice had survived um, having that cancer in any experiment that they recorded. And they didn't just not develop cancer. The cancer, they got the big lumps in the, um, what do you want to call it?
Tumors.
Tumor. Yes, thank you. My word spitter router isn't working so well. Um, the tumors got really large, and Bill was like, "Oh boy, is it? What's the point of continuing?" But he got convinced to keep going, and then at a certain point, the tumors almost overnight just collapsed or just imploded on itself, and the mice um, became very healthy. No sign of the tumor left, and so he did lots of other experiments actually, doing with basically on the same premise, teaching other people how to cycle, um, and have them work on mice, and got almost it was an with all the experiments, I think it was an 89.4, 89.6% success ratio,
Yeah.
and found really interesting things out of that. And they actually tried re-injecting the same mice with a cancer, and they were immune to the cancer. And
Yeah.
then he took some of the blood out of an immune mouse, or a mouse that had survived and was immune, and injected it in other mice, and they became immune. So there's all kinds of interesting things that happened.
It's so fascinating. And Bill did this research for, it was over 30 years, right?
Yes, they did
Yeah.
a lot of research, and so that was you know, repeated experiments at several different universities, different people doing it, um, and they found that a few interesting, baffling facts is that if anybody who is involved in cycling, or we're using a rapid image cycling on the mice, who's involved in experiments, if they even knew where the control mice were, or they had an experience where somebody went to look at the control mice because they wanted to see how the control mice were doing. And what happened is then the control mice all cured themselves, were cured of cancer, remitted of the cancer. So it's
Amazing.
just like, oh, here's something's going on we don't understand. So we started to look at, well, they must be bonded somehow together.
Yeah.
And so they ended up having some experiments where um, they had the mice that were in the experiment, the control mice. Then they had hidden control mice in another city altogether. And they found out that I may have the facts wrong here, but yes, the control mice somehow bonded with the regular mice and remitted, but the control mice in another city did not. So they all perished. And so there was like this bonding experience happening, and that in one of the labs, that some of the mice that weren't involved in this experiment at all started healing from whatever experiment they were involved in. So it was like a bonded group can happen. And if they're not bonded, they can be side by side, two cages, one for the mice for the experiment, one with not. If they don't bond, it doesn't affect them at all. So there's this lot of wonderful unknowns.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And I did want to bring up that all of Bill's research is available on his website at
yes.
um, bengstonresearch.com. Either way,
Yeah.
I'll put the link in the show notes
Yes.
so
Yeah.
people can read it. And then, if they're interested in taking the class, how many times are the classes offered? Is like 4 times a year?
We're aiming at least, well, probably 4 times a year.
Okay.
And there is an intention, the hope that we can have one a year that would be in person rather than Zoom. Because right now all the classes are on Zoom,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it'd be great to have.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know, one year on the West Coast, one year on the East Coast kind of thing. So,
That's great. And I should say that Dr. Bengston's last name is spelled B as in boy, Engston, if anyone wants to get a head
yeah.
start and look it up. I will also link to the show notes my favorite video on YouTube of him. He was in an interview with New Thinking Aloud. So I'll link to that because he really explains it very well there. So, but working with him, describe your experience and then where that kind of led to for you.
Oh boy.
What is?
Because I was a student of his doing the statistics and research methods course. That was what he taught at university. Um, we would talk a little bit about the Bengston healing, and I was mentioning some of the effects that I felt happening as I was doing the cycling and the difference it was making, and then he was curious, and because I was saying I think it's causing me brain damage. I can feel it sort of changing my brain as I'm cycling, um, and because I'm very energetically aware, he called me. Oh, I'll think of the name he called me. I just also went blank on it for the moment.
No.
Um, but extremely sensitive. He came out to um, do an experiment at Ions with Dean Radin, Dr. Dean Radin,
Wow.
um, and that was ended up being funded by Emerald Gate. But that finding out that I could sense the charge in the cotton and the changes in things. So we we're trying to figure out how to measure the uh, the energy of the cycling, and so um, Dr. Radin Dean had a Faraday cage,
Okay.
basically a rim, a shield, extremely well shielded rim that shielded from virtually every frequency.
Uh-huh.
And the three of us were in there. They did several different things in there, but at one point, three of us were in there charging cotton, doing rapid image cycling and putting the energy into cotton. And they had every imaginable frequency being measured in the room, including a scalar, which is the theoretical frequency as far as I can understand. Um, and when he played back that we're doing it, and then we got a section that was really high, higher charge or higher frequency in it. When that was played back, um, it got results. Um, in the experiment at Beech Tree Laboratory, playing that recording um, in a closed thing to cancer cells, it got genomic changes, significant changes in cancer cells just from playing that recording in an enclosed space. And also, the space got conditioned so that when they took out the cancer cells and waited a day or two and put in cancer cells, they didn't have the recording going on again. They got the same changes so that a space can get conditioned and have impact. And how that came about was I was at Bill's house and he was playing the recording and then he stopped playing it and I said, it's still going. I can still feel it. It's still going. And he unplugged the stereo
Yeah.
and went, no,
Yeah.
it's not. I went, yes, it is. Uh, and I still feel the energy of it. And then so that led them to try when they were doing it, playing the recording to cancer cells to try, okay, we're just going to do this little addition on and put cancer cells in there after the recording stopped. It was a day or two after the recording stopped, and they still got the changes in it.
Wow.
So there's all this wonderful stuff that we don't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow. And just so people understand, when you were in that Faraday cage, you were all doing rapid image cycling and they were recording almost this audio of
oh
your
yeah,
rapid image cycling.
audio of every frequency. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
And
measurable. Yeah, they had to build a special computer to do it,
uh-huh.
and Emerald Gate Charitable Foundation funded that. It was I think it was somewhere close to $100,000 at that time for that computer because it had to
Wow.
record, so it had to be water cooled and all the other
Wow.
stuff. It may not have been that expensive, but that was the number kind of that I was told. And I'm not a geek,
Mhm.
so I don't know, or a techie.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But you weren't, none of you were talking. It was silent. You
we
were
are all
just
silent. Yeah,
mindfully like projecting rapid image cycling. And it picked up, it was being audio recorded. And this
yeah,
is what they used for energy healing, which
yes.
is so
And
amazing.
and also what it doesn't make sense is because you should have had to have really expensive speakers to play that full range, to be able to play the
Oh,
full range
right.
of frequencies.
Uh-huh.
And playing it on a computer speaker, people were sensing it and getting changes and results. He played it
Really?
at a conference, and there were people that were finding that, oh my goodness, my limp's gone and this ache or
Wow.
pain is gone. So,
Yeah.
and the provenance of that is pretty much, I guess, with Emerald Gate, they paid, but ions didn't charge for their time, I don't believe, and
Hmm.
Bill, Margaret, and I, who were the three in the cage, weren't paid at all. So it was like uncertainty around who has the provenance, who has the rights to that. So
Right.
it hasn't really gone anywhere. Yeah,
Has to come
I
back
would love
out.
to have that recording available, so people could play it if
Yeah. No.
and yeah.
And I know Bill, that's what he ultimately wanted. And just so we can mention who Margaret is, that is Bill's wife.
Bill's wife, Margaret, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I did want to kind of make a little side note here. You know Bill's Going Bananas video. Did you ever see that? Where you take the green banana
Oh
and then
yeah.
you cycle with it. I want to just kind of tell you a really quick story about how I did that. So for people, if you, I can also I'll link this Bill's Going Bananas video as well. Just kind of for the novice person who just wants to see how cool this is. You have to buy a very green banana. I
Hmm.
happen to have purchased two, and I cycled. I did the rapid image cycling for an hour, total of an hour. The bananas that I bought were connected to each other, but I separated them out. One was the control, and I just sat in the kitchen. The other was, the one I was doing it on, and that banana it got mummified, the one that I was doing it on. After probably about 30 days. Black, I still have it. It's been two years now, and it is like petrified wood. It is so cool. And I will have to say that control that I had, the one that sat in the kitchen, also got petrified. Also was and they and what you were mentioning earlier about this bonding, or I don't know if it's the equivalent of like what Einstein would call the spooky action at a distance. I don't know if it's that same thing, but
Some
um,
kind of entanglement. So
it's an
yeah.
entanglement. That's right. Yeah, really cool. So anyone can try that, and I'll link that video. But for the listeners, they're probably wondering what the heck is rapid image cycling. Are you able to kind of describe it in a nutshell?
I'll try to describe it briefly. I don't know if it'll fit in a nutshell,
Okay.
but okay, it's using desire for positive things in the future. Um, so I would say connecting with futures that you really want. Say you want it need to be measurable. Say, okay, I want a new car, I want a new um, job, I want to have a better weight or fitness or new shoes, doesn't matter, trip, anything that you really want to get into the experience of having it. So let's say you want to go on a trip to Borneo. Who wants to go to Borneo? I don't know, but anyway, somebody will. Um, so imagine yourself being in Borneo, having a great time, great experience, and so getting into the experience of having it, then you get a symbol reference for it. Maybe it's like a snapshot of what it you look like in Borneo, what it'd be like, and then to get it a word. The word may be Borneo, may be vacation, but you get it down to a single word. And so you have this experience with a symbol for it, image. It could be a sound. It'd be hard if it was a sound, but it still could be a sound, and to a word. And you do this with preferably 20 or more, and they need to be measurable. It's like, oh, I want to be happy. That's wonderful, great to be happy, but how are you going to measure it and how are you going to know you have it? So it needs to start with measurable weight, measurable items, and then you have the experience and a symbol attached to a word in 20 words, and you start going with each word. Look at the word, imagine the image, get the experience. And so you start going through that list faster and faster. And so you keep going more and more rapidly and going to the point that you're going faster than you can consciously go. And then as you're practicing and drilling it, it's going to drop into your subconscious, and then it can go much, much faster. Your subconscious, apparently is at least 1 million times faster processing and powerful processing than our conscious brain. And so you can get it going zooming really fast. That seems to create a field of energy resonance that healing can happen in. It's also a great manifesting or creating tool. A lot of people complaining like, well, I keep getting things on my list. That's a complaint. But so I have to make a new list. And but that creates, I think, the positive free feelings of the futures that you want to be in and how the more real you can make them, that going rapidly through them supercharges them so that here's this frequency of energy or that you can have a passing intention of that going to whoever you're working on to help heal, and it makes a profound difference.
Yeah,
So,
it sure does. Um, can you give a few examples of
oh
how
boy.
this has impacted people's lives, your clients?
Okay, I've had boy, everything from minor things like sometimes minor torn ligaments, injuries, um, broken bones heal faster, much faster. People remitting from cancers, and some folks that one of the earliest people that I worked with, um, I started working with. I took Bill's class at the beginning of February, end of January, and in that March, got this call from somebody that uh, she was given a few months to live. She had lung cancer that metastasized through her body. It was in her brain, in her bones, in most organs, and she could barely breathe. She had difficulty talking. So I started working with her once a week, and she was also doing other stuff. She didn't do chemo or radiation. It was deemed not at that point when she was, as far as I understand, not it wasn't worth doing, or it was they didn't give it a good chance of success. So she was going on a juicing fast, and she was doing different retreats and things. And I was working with her every week. And at the end of a year, the following March, and she did have a gamma knife radiation, so targeted radiation on a tumor in her brain, one of the larger ones, and was able to shrink it. And the energy went much stronger there after she got radiated, which totally confused me. I was impressed with that because I
Yeah.
didn't have a good experience with radiation.
Yeah.
And after a year, she cleared all her cancer in her bones, in her organs, in her brain. The only thing she had is she had what she called the mothership left in one lung, one nodule left. So she had that uh, targeted radiation with, uh, I guess the equipment's called gamma knife. And so she was completely cancer free.
So
And
amazing.
she she lived for 9 more years, 9 or 10 more years. And
Yeah,
so,
that
yeah,
is amazing. So essentially, what you did for her was to help her to heal
heal
herself,
herself.
to
Yeah, and
heal.
that's really, thank you for bringing that up. It's really
Yeah.
important to me that I recognize that I'm just helping people heal themselves,
Yeah.
providing an environment that people can heal themselves because
Right.
I'm not healing people. Used to think, oh, that's what I did, but I'm not. People, you can't. Um, the most brilliant surgeon can do an amazing operation, and if the operation's not received by the patient, it's not going to succeed. That
Hmm.
old joke of the operation was a success, but the patient died. They weren't
Yeah.
able to receive the healing that way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And this can
so,
also be used on animals too, just as
yes.
an aside. Do you have
Um,
any
uh,
other stories you want to share?
well, I'll use Luke the Wonder Dog,
Uh-huh.
that
Okay. Yeah.
Margaret's favorite story.
Yeah.
Somebody did the in-person training in New York. Um, had no previous experience of doing it, any kind of healing work, as far as I understand. She took the Bengston course, and friends had a rescue dog that had a great big tumor on it, the size of like melon almost. It stuck out about 6, 8 inches and was probably 3 inches around, and was really suspicious of anybody. And as soon as she started cycling, it came and sat down beside her and let her put her hands on it. And over the course of about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, the vet had said there's nothing we can do really. We can remove it, but they didn't have the money to do extensive operations. Um, and there's a lot of pictures of this, how it ulcerated and lots of stuff came out and it just dissolved away. And at a certain point, the vet cut the excess skin off and stitched it up, and it had no other incidences. And as far as I know, it lived out its natural life without any more disease. And
Yeah,
they were at the point that they were going to be putting it down because of the cancer.
yeah.
Yeah,
In
and
when Margaret explains it, she shows a lot of great photos.
hmm yeah, a lot of gory photos. And
Yeah.
last year, a gentleman that took the course here in the Bay Area, his older dog had a tumor on its side, and so he and I cycled on it, and the tumor pretty much did the same thing. It was a different kind of tumor and smaller, but it completely remitted. And the dog was, I want to say 11 or 12, and it
Wow.
lived for about another 6, 8 months, maybe. I don't think it lived a year, 6, 8 months, and didn't have any issue. And it went from looking like they probably have to put it down very soon to it living out the rest of its natural lifespan. Wasn't
Wow.
that long, but
Yeah.
um, so it didn't matter on the age of the dog. So yeah,
That's so amazing. Now I
and the
know
range of go ahead.
you go ahead, dear. Go ahead. I
I was
interrupted.
going to say the range of speed of healing really varies. The fastest I had, and
Hmm.
the idea was the younger the patient or the client, and the more aggressive the cancer, the faster the healing.
Right.
It
Right.
seems counterintuitive, but the cancer is so aggressive. There's a lot of energy in it, so when it turns around, it goes away faster. My fastest healing broke those two rules because it was a lady in her 80s who had colon cancer, and it was also in her liver and in her lungs. And she was going to be having a, how do you put it, colonoscopy to see how much more of her colon they were going to take out. I guess she'd had an
Um,
operation a couple years before.
uh-huh.
And so her daughter set up a session with me, and I was talking with her. And her husband had died maybe 8 months before, 7, 8 months before, something like that. And it was just like I could tell that she wasn't really committed to living. I said, we need to stop here and you need to decide if you want to live or not.
Yeah.
And so we chatted a little bit and she said, get back to me. And so ended up doing it was either 2 or 3 more sessions with her and then she had the colonoscopy. She decided she really did want to live for her and, it was not that she should for her family and stuff, but she really wanted to, was going to enjoy
Mm.
herself. When they did the colonoscopy, there was no cancer evident at all.
That is
And
so
with the
amazing.
scan, there was nothing in her liver. There was one nodule, little something in the lungs, and they weren't worried about. So she lived for another 2 or 3 years and was healthy for basically the rest of the time. And yeah, and had somebody who had esophageal cancer, which has a really
Um,
low survival rate.
yeah.
And it was like 3 or 4 sessions, and it cleared up completely. And there was in a couple areas of his body as well. Those were the two fastest.
Wow.
And I've had people that I've been working with for several years that had serious cancer. It didn't go away completely, but they're still alive and functioning and doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
And when I've been involved in the experiments at MD Anderson, and so one of the things I was disappointed was, hey, the cancer's not going away completely in all these experiments. And they're going, in every experiment, uh, as far as I know, I'm saying this not knowing all the experiments because I don't always know the results, it has stopped the migration of cancer cells and stopped the growth of the cancers. And apparently, if the growth of the cancer is stopped and there's no metastases, most cancers people can live indefinitely with, because
Mm.
then it just becomes a benign growth per se. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
theoretically still cancer, but a benign growth.
Mm.
So,
That makes sense.
so
Uh,
that's basically what was happening with a few of the clients that
mm.
they're haven't been able to clear it out altogether, and it's also what's involved there in therapy. It's like they talk about secondary gain. What's
Mm.
the
Mm-hmm.
what are somebody getting out of having the circumstance they're in or the issue, and so finding out what's involved, what are you going to have to give up to get healthy,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking through that secondary gain. I run into that a lot with my clients too, with,
yeah.
you
And
know,
people a lot of times don't even know what they're like.
yeah.
What are you getting out of having this circumstance? Well, my life's a disaster. Yeah, but you also get to feel martyred or
Yeah.
misunderstood, or you got, oh, you believe life's a struggle, so you got to have something to struggle against, and so I get to run my story. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a gain from that.
Mhm.
So I know that you use the rapid image cycling, um, I think primarily or always in the background. What are the other modalities that you're using?
Oh boy. um, a blend of things I've learned over the years. Um, I went through the Academy of Intuition Medicine, like I said, so using some of the Academy tools, intuitive tools, um, from the Palo Alto Bioenergy Balancing Center, some of their tools, some of the tools I learned from Mind Potential back in the late 70s, and psychosomatics, and a lot of stuff I learned from Lazarus material, different about belief structures, and then just what I carrying in me, knowing how to run energy, and from basically taking all kinds of courses, trying to figure out what I'm doing. That's what I've done for so many years, and trying to figure out if am I delusional or is there something actually here? Am I crazy or does this work? And probably both is true because it seems it does work, getting enough people that have healed and got results. And because my belief structure fits or doesn't fit within the norm, is way outside the norm, I would probably be considered crazy. Yeah. So, like I
Yeah.
really do. For me, it's a knowing um, that we create our reality through our beliefs,
That's
and
right.
so that's what determines what's going to happen with us. And there's more evidence leaning that way. And I don't know how you do good experiments to sign it, but you change your mind or you get in a different emotional state, and all of a sudden there's different opportunities and possibilities that are there. And
Right.
that's basically creating your reality. Yeah.
So besides the physical health issues that you help people with, what are the other types of issues that you address in your sessions?
Help working with anywhere there's energy, which is everywhere. Financial, all kinds of different health issues, relationship, um, learning how to do any activity that involves an energy. So it's um, on the money side, helping folks change their beliefs around money and relationship with money to have a lot more ease financially. Um, to change beliefs around what life is, how life is, and if you think that, say, we'll pick on marriage today. That if you believe marriage is hard work and is horrible and it's difficult and it's two people being miserable together, if you get married, you're going to have be unhappy and be miserable. And but if someone else believes that marriage is a way that two people can really get together and um, partner in having a wonderful adventure through life, that's the experience they're going to have, and these folks are going to be happily hating each other and miserable because that's what their beliefs are. So helping to shift those um, and change the energy that's there,
Mhm.
and that's on um, basically that two different frequencies cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So if you're a really happy, optimistic person, and here's sad sack over here, and you're not going to be able to stay in the same space. You're going to repel each other.
Hmm.
Or you're going to have to go get miserable, or he's going to have to get happy. And um, so as you're shifting the energy you're in, that changes what's possible for you, what you can attract. Um, and that's a lot of the positive thinking, basis behind a lot of the positive thinking books that have been written. Napoleon Hill, Catherine Ponder. I'm trying to think of all the different
Dale Carnegie.
writers. Dale Carnegie, yes.
Yeah.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
All those shifting the frequency and the focus and
Hmm.
connecting with positive futures. And then
Hmm.
if you're really connected with that positive future, it's going to pull you to it, or
Hmm.
you're going to use that as track. Businesses having business goals, and okay, somebody wants to have a whatever career, they're using these tools without realizing it fully. Like, okay, you want to be a, give an example, boy that I grew up with, he always wanted to be a fireman.
Hmm.
That was his goal. He wanted to be a fireman. When we play all kinds of other games, that was fine, but he always wanted to be a fireman. He always wanted to do games with him being a fireman. He ended up making it all the way through to be the fire chief of the town that I grew up in. I mean, and
Wow.
then that's all he did. It was his dream when he was a boy, and that was a goal he had, and he manifested it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um, you have a client, I think you had mentioned him, where you really helped him to successfully change his life. Do you want to kind of go into that real briefly?
yes, he started working with him when he was not quite a year sober, and he was in marketing sales at a company, just base level, helped him shift, and he hadn't had a really healthy relationship, so there's a lot of pieces, helped him really, and he was really diligent on doing his work. So I helped him, but he was doing the work and helped him to shift. And he went from that to being the senior vice president in charge of sales and marketing and making several hundred thousand a year. And looking at it and we're helping him to see that the company he was working for really was, how do you put it, taking advantage. It was very opportunistic in not a healthy way. And so he ended up leaving the company, and I pointed out that when he left it, it would probably fold within a year or so, and it did because he was the one who was holding the vision for the company. And he started his own company, and that company now it's got a partner, and so it's a techie company,
Hmm.
and it's somewhere in close to about $100 million. And in the
Amazing.
meantime, he healed his beliefs and challenges everything else around relationship. He's happily married, and they have three children,
Hmm.
and they still have a house standing in Pacific Palisades. Actually, we when they evacuated, we
Yeah, that's right.
he was
That's
saying,
right.
oh, he had two houses. The house, they had the house, their starter house, and then when they were getting more successful, bought another house, and they were renting out or leasing out their other house, their starter house, or the smaller one, calling it
Mm.
starter house. Now he'll hear this and get back at me for calling it that, but um, we put a bubble of protection and energy and just imagining the future, connecting with the future of that house still being standing and safe, and the houses. A few of the houses around it in that house survived the fire.
So
The other
amazing.
one we didn't think to put a bubble around and it burned down.
Yeah.
So um, this energy stuff is powerful and
Yeah.
it's learning how to use it. And I really believe anybody can learn how to do it because we're all energy beings
Hmm.
ultimately. And then it's just like learning any skill. You know, you're not going to be very strong at it to begin with. Like the first day you go to the gym, you're not going to be lifting the heavy weights with the big monsters. You're going to be
Yeah.
maybe just lifting the lightest weights into place and learning how to do it.
Yeah. but it can be
So
really impactful. The,
yes,
the level of commitment to it. Yeah.
and and it can be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's
changing the
so
way
much
that you
fun.
are, and hmm
It's so
yeah.
amazing. Um, Kind of getting back to the health stuff. What do you wish that allopathic, the allopathic medical community
Mm.
better understood about energy healing?
Um, that it works.
That it
I don't think it replaces allopathic medicine. In some ways it can, in other ways, no, absolutely not. I think they're very complementary. And the way I see the
Yeah.
different modalities is like hub or spokes of a wheel,
Mm-hmm.
and not one is all by itself. Like allopathic medicine, Western medicine, and the diagnostics are absolutely amazing, mind-blowing what they can diagnose and figure out. Um, and then you've got chiropractic and
Yeah.
traditional Chinese medicine, Vedic, and you've got naturopathy and all kinds, even um, say traditional healing or faith healing. They're all spokes of a wheel, and they all have their place. And so
Yeah.
it's not either or, which it tends to be so much.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm involved in with at MD Anderson, why I keep going back is it's not fun sitting in a lab, but it's not fun being down in a dungeon working on mice or with it much more often with cell cultures, but it's to open up the space that the that it can include this a lot more and
Yeah.
integrate more into a wider medical um, recognition. Yeah. And so another tool that people use to heal. Yeah.
So, and it's fantastic that MD Anderson is really taking this seriously.
There's a lot of resistance. It's
Mhm.
in the complementary side that,
Okay.
um, yeah. And so, uh, funny, I'm all of a sudden a blank of names, um, but pushing to see that there's other ways and to open up the space for it. So there's a lot of pushback in the research community that don't want to have anything to do with this. Partly,
Yeah.
most of the funding is coming from pharmaceutical companies, and well, somebody's got to pay for the research, and so this is
Hmm.
a little bit sketchy and out there. And how can you make money from this? And
Hmm.
the charitable trust that is funding this, once they're able to, I don't know when that'll happen, but once they're able to figure out a way of exactly, you want to say exactly what I'm doing, but the frequencies and mechanism of how I'm doing it, and there are other people that are doing it too, so it's not, I'm saying
Yeah.
me here, but uh, then once they can measure it and identify it, then they'll be able to replicate it. And that'll
Yeah.
be huge because then kind of like you can go into a nice chamber and be in a resonant field of healing and maybe a little bit Star Trek, keep it wonderful. So that I would love to see that. Yeah. So
You and me both. You and me both. What what's next for you in your work? You have any projects going on? You know, you're
um,
teaching.
probably I seem to be being more and more visible. I'm not so crazy about that, but um, bringing a larger message out and helping people learn how to do it. And you say if I think the biggest piece of it is with the Bengston cycling, with any of the other work I'm doing, is helping people to take back their own authorship. You say
Hmm.
being able, what's authority? That you're the author of your life. You're
Yeah.
you're you're the authority in taking back um, and having the awareness that you can change your circumstances and waking up to that possibility that you're not just along for the ride and like a leaf in the ocean being washed around by the waves, that you can actually chart your own course a fair bit. That's huge.
Yeah,
And
it sure is. How can people schedule a session with you?
oh boy, my contact information is available through the Bengston website
Mhm.
and also the Academy of Intuition Medicine. There's, a list of practitioners there, so I'm on that list. And
Okay. And I'll include
yeah,
your
and
phone
yeah,
number.
yes,
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
include your phone number in the notes. Now, you don't
yeah.
have a website, so if someone's
I
gotta
no,
look at,
that's another piece of like putting my money where my mouth is in that sense. It was like I was determined to do this through the intention of of a vision and holding, and not using marketing and sales. And my whole business has been word of mouth.
which is
Two
amazing.
boxes of business cards, and the only reason I got the second box of business cards is because a lot of my information changed, and then I lost the second box of business cards, and I may have given out 100 business cards in 20 some years, 30 years.
Hmm.
Um, so it's all been word of mouth,
Yeah,
and
that is truly
and I
amazing.
really wanted that, and so it was like holding the intention, the vision of what you want, and so that's
That's amazing.
yeah. And then I didn't have to be so visible, and it
Yeah.
seemed like now I'm coming out of it, and a lot of friends who know me is like, um, if a camera comes out, I usually disappear, and now I'm getting more. I mean, that I'm this visible is
Uh-huh.
huge, so
Yeah. And
and
I'm
that
really sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's just that it seems like that's where I need to go to be of help. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say I'm so glad that you agreed to do this interview because I've been really strongly feeling that you need to be more visible, more out there so
As long as
people
my background's blurred.
You're so funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much, dear,
Oh, you're welcome.
for joining me today, and you are a true joy. And yes, so I'll put John's contact information in the notes section. I want to thank you all for joining us. If this today's episode resonated with you, please leave a review and also like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future episodes. And then also, just a quick mention if you'd like to schedule a free 15-minute call with me to see if I'm the right fit for your needs, you can do that at kimlouisemedicalintuitive.com. And until next time, you all take care.